doing very well. But I decided when we came in, there was going to be a pivot moment, what we wanted to do. And we kind of did it. And, we lit the world on fire, in Arizona. Um, what did it look like when you were done with it? So I recently ended my tenure with them. 5 years ago. Well, it was 5 years ago that I joined as a marketing company, and we did such a good job that they made me their CEO. So I went in, and we went from 2.1 million all the way up to 12 million. And I can't take all the credit on the $12 million mark. It was COVID, and COVID inflated numbers, as everybody knows. And but after post COVID, we were averaging 10 million a year, and we did a lot of work for that. And I'm super proud of that number. I'm super glad that we were able to grow that company to 10 million a year. And it took a lot of work. It took a lot of work. I don't think you guys really understand when it comes to building the company. And the position that I come from. I don't come from money. I don't come from expertise. I don't come from anywhere. I was technically going to school to be a nurse. Went for 1 quarter, but I didn't come with a background of this. So to get a company to 10 million a year, it was a huge accomplishment on my end, and it kind of opened up my brain to more. But yeah, it just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Definitely, moved from California, moved to Arizona. It was such a great time, but it's things out of my control. I decided to step away, and I felt that I could do it again and do it better. Going on with the company Pure IV, and that's kind of where we're at now. But during that run, you weren't just building one company. How many IV businesses did you help build and help? Well, during my tenure with obviously the Arizona company, I had clients in between. It was kind of iffy waters because I know the Arizona company didn't like it when I would branch out to other companies and help them. But I'm a marketing company. I'm a marketing agency. That's what I do. I wasn't just confined it to one company. I never was. No non-competes, no anything like that. As long as it wasn't in our backyard, I kind of got it. But I loved building. I do. Honestly, if I can just build the company, get it to where it needs to be to make money, and then disappear and do it again, that's what I want to do. I mean, that's the fun part. I don't know. I like building the name. I like building the systems. I like building the nurses. I like hiring the nurses. I like talking to them. I like getting them, riled up to make sure they're grabbing calls in the mobile IV world and the med spa world. I think it's some of the best work that I've done in my life, and it's just been a good time. So, I think during that tenure, though, I built out maybe 6 or 7. Didn't really put a lot of time into all of those people, back in the day, because obviously I was running one of the bigger IV companies, in the nation. And, it was fun, though. It took a lot, though, when it came down to it. So at what point did you realize you knew you were more about this industry than almost anyone? In the mobile IV field, I've met a lot of people. No disrespect to anybody out there. There's a lot of people out there that I respect in this field that know what they're doing, know how to do it, understand how to do it. And, those people know who they are. I'll shout them out in another episode. But as far as mobile IV, I didn't really learn from anybody at my last tenure in Arizona. I mostly learned it on myself. I relearned how to, schedule systems better. I understood supply issues and supply chain. I understood issues on how to cover calls in certain areas, how to cover calls 30 miles away, 20 miles away. Let's use the landscape of Arizona. I just figured out how to get calls covered from Flagstaff, Phoenix, Tucson. And I just kept innovating. So the scheduling system, the dispatch system. So what happens when a call comes in? Who's going to answer that phone call? How are you going to get this nurse to go to that call quickly before they call another provider? I just got really good at it. And, sky's the limit now. Now, I mean, there's so many things in my head. I mean, I love talking about mobile IV therapy. If anyone's ever listening to this podcast ever, even one person, that's completely fine with me. I definitely would love you guys to reach out to me. I am an open book. I have no problem. I don't gatekeep. I don't do anything like that. Just ask me, and I'll go ahead and give you whatever you need. So anyway, I was on top, making money, growing companies. Why leave the Arizona company? It just got to a point out of my hands that I just saw some writing on the wall that I know I really wanted to do stuff on my own and do it, from the ground up again. And I just decided to leave. I think it was probably one of the better moves that I've ever done. Being a CEO of a massive company is very stressful. I'd rather be stressed out if it's my company. So I decided to step off, and boom, Pure IV was born. And it's been fun. I've been doing it for the last 90 days. We're on path, and I can't wait to open up more episodes to talk more about that. But we're on path for a, 90-day company going on 120 days, and we're looking like we're going to hit 4 million this year. So, starting from 0 to 4 million is an incredible accomplishment. And I wonder what I'm going to do if I just continue to keep building that out. Definitely want to see what happens there. What does it wasn't for me anymore actually mean? What happened behind the scenes? There's not really anything that happened really behind the scenes. And again, these questions are being fielded by a bunch of people. Nothing really happened. It was just completely out of our control. It was not anything, medical related or legal related. It was more on a personal legal matter that had nothing to do with me or any of the management on that company. And we just saw writing on the wall, and I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So we decided to just kind of dip out of that and called it a day. Still respect everybody out there. All the nurses and all the relationships that I've made. Definitely love, each and every one of them. They're still kind of running and doing their thing. But yeah, other than that, I decided to go and kind of do my own thing, and it worked out. So let's see here. What did the people around you say when everything was going sideways? I don't really necessarily think everything was going sideways, but definitely saw the writing on the wall. Don't really want to go into too much detail. I mean, there are obviously people are asking these questions. Don't want to go into too much detail, but it's still, it wasn't like a terrible thing. It was just time to go. Sometimes you're there for so long and you're kind of like, okay, you've been there a very long time. It's just time to start something different. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to have left that denture, on my end, being completely, straightforward and honest with myself on that. And, I loved what I did over there, but I can't wait to replicate it and do it again. So that's kind of where that's at.